interviewwithgodsite.com. Another one we have is blog.noniusers.com. And then the other one is just noniusers.com. On our noniusers.com is we have the presentation you just saw. Did that make sense? Yeah. See the marketing plan that way? Yeah. Did it help clarify? If you go to noniusers.com, well, you actually have to go to floydholdman.com because that's my personal site, but it has that under the business opportunity section. Actually, we're doing a webinar with what you just saw. And so a person can subscribe to that and you make it personal for themselves. You can actually send any of our presentations to somebody, and then when they look at it, you're notified by email when they watched it. And that's what I use. That's how I recruit people. I recruited somebody, and I have been talking to him for quite some time, but I was in Guadalajara, Mexico, doing some meetings, and he kind of made contact with me. So I did a Skype presentation for 2 hours and gave him a presentation on Skype and signed him up in Thailand. And he became one of my diamond pearls last year. So I use the internet a lot. Now I don't use the internet necessarily to find people. I use the internet to give information to people. Because I don't usually make a presentation until they have information first. Because I want them to know what we're about, to give a little bit of credibility. And so I use the Noni users, like if you did www.noniusers.com/Floyd, that would come to my personal site. But noniusers.com now just kind of goes and explains what our site is and what it does. But on there we actually put, like the presentation you just saw, you can download that from there if you subscribe to it. And you get the PowerPoints that I make. Some of them are in Spanish, we have them in English, we have webinars, all kinds of things that are beyond what the company has. Because I do it for a living. We're out in the field and the stuff really works. And so, but what I wanted to show you, if you'd like, is I want to talk to you a little bit about the goal setting and the attitude and things. I want to show you a presentation. In fact, I'll show you two of them. We have one, the other one is not on the internet. It's called Empowering Thoughts. And I think, you need to change your attitude, before you start changing your life. And to give you, well, that sounded like somebody must have just brought it up on their, I recognize that music. Somebody just brought it up. I know that music. Let me give you an example of how we're conditioned. Children should be seen, not heard. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't go where. Yeah. See how well you're conditioned? Money doesn't grow on trees. You think we're rich? You think money grows on trees? You can spend all that you want? Guys, Dad, your children should be seen, not heard. You ever hear that? Now, just think, a person signs up in TNI, and what's the first thing they think? One thing is, don't speak to strangers. They'll kidnap and kill you. So here you try to this business, get a hold of your friends. Oh, whatever you know, talk to strangers, talk to people. Oh, don't talk to strangers. Or children should be seen and not heard. Don't go where you're not wanted. Don't make. See how we're all conditioned to these negative things. And so right away it's going to slow you down on all the things that you want to do. So you've learned all those things through repetition. Over and over and over again. So if you want to change, you're going to have to do that through repetition. I know, because my father was a very cruel person. At 16 years old, he pulled me out of high school. At 17 years old, I left home. I couldn't take it anymore. I was on the streets of San Antonio, Texas, no high school education, with the wrong crowd. And I saw the people I was hanging out with picking up cigarette butts in the street to smoke them later because they couldn't afford to buy their own. And I said, what am I doing here with my life? So I joined the Navy to get an education and see the world. And I was stationed about 30 miles from Death Valley in California. You know, that's out in the middle of the desert. Like the closest ship is 200 miles away. But that's where I met my wife, in the desert. We always say we're just a couple of desert rats that made good, and here we are today. And so, but I always thought, because he's always telling me that I wasn't any good. He never once in his life told me that he loved me or cared for me. And but I begin to realize that that was the past. Don't let your past control your future. And most people do that. But you got to replace all that negative stuff with positive stuff. And so I made a presentation in my photography. This first one I'm going to show you is actually, and it's on this DVD, but it's one I can probably call out these other things. I want to show this to you. And